All right, here we go. How you doing, man? You all right?
Very good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Busy day, ready to enjoy a beer and a chat for our first, I was going to say first attempt. Let's be honest, this is our second attempt, isn't it? After we both kind of got to the first time around, didn't we?
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
Technical issues.
It's all good, so it's fine. It's absolutely fine.
Cool. So, what are you drinking tonight?
So tonight, and this will become clear why, we're on
Ooh,
the Pilsner
nice.
Urquell. Bit of Pilsner
Very
Urquell.
nice.
And it will all become clear. It will all become clear why.
Yeah, as we carry on. So, as you know, my first time round, I had a Spartan Oktoberfest because I'd squirreled it away. Since
Because
last
it
September.
is chef
Yeah,
kiss.
it's beautiful. That would have been my first choice for this, but I don't have one, so I've had to go for one of these.
Ooh,
Some Schlenkerla Helles.
that is a strong choice.
Go on, you go.
I was going to say, I would say that this time you're winning. I would probably pick one of those.
Really?
It's, I don't know, maybe it's on the day. Maybe it's down to choice on the day, but after having one the other day in the nice weather, it was warm, I wanted a nice crisp cold beer. A Spaten Oktoberfest would be good. The Schlenkerla Helles is a phenomenal beer.
Amazing. I've just made a proper cock up. That is my worst pour ever. But yeah, on the back of our smoked beer tasting, I thought I'll stick with this. This will be good. Get yours poured. I'm going to let that just settle a little bit. I even boasted about being such a good bartender on that tasting video I did for the stout. So
Excellent bartender.
I'm not living up to it. But yeah, while you pour that in, what we're hoping to do with this is a bit of an introduction to our channel, isn't it? So
It absolutely
people get a
is.
feel for what we're all about, which is two brothers chatting about beer, chatting about art. We've got our process video for our logo art, if you want to call it that. So some pixel art. We're going to look at like a time lapse of that, and have a chat about the thought process and the beers that we think go well with that. Cheers.
Chin chin. Chink. Oh,
that is really nice. I know what you meant about, because you were saying it's got that malty breadiness, hasn't it?
oh, yeah.
Really good.
Especially with the weather being so
Very
warm at the
simple.
moment. These are tip-top beers for
Perfect.
the weather.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely. Well,
Should we have a look?
yeah, let's take a look at this. I will share my screen with you, and we can have a look.
Dive right in.
So it says host is disabled sharing. So if
Let's
you
have a
were
pause
able
for a
to-
second then. I don't know how to do that.
All right, so you can just kind of see the blank screen right now. I'll press play in a second. But yeah, I mean, like we can just have a chat about like what I was thinking as I was making this, and what it makes you think about, how it ties in the beers, and yeah, should we go for it?
Yeah, get cracking.
Cool. Let's go. So I mean, this is pixel art, and I love pixel art. It just reminds me of being kids, playing retro video games, like our old Amiga 500 Plus. So I mean, like making this for us. I mean, this is the first time we've had a project together since we were teenagers. You know, like when we used to play in bands together and stuff. And it's not what I'd originally envisaged for our sort of logo art, but it just kind of came together naturally, I think, through thinking about stuff like that. So I'm starting off, I've got a decent reference to work from. I wanted something that instantly makes you think about beer. So I'm putting down these sort of mid-tones, these block colours at first, just to block out the composition. It's got this sort of, well, like a round frame, as you can see, this sort of mirror image basically, so split directly in half. And it's going to be this this image of a barley field, obviously, to make you instantly think of beer. So I'm blocking out these colours. I love pixel art because you've got this kind of ability to work in loads of detail, but within just a really small sort of scale, because it looks quite simple at first, but then as you develop it, you can put tons of detail in it. So it's kind of sprung forward there. So as I was developing this barley field, it looks really chaotic, and usually pixel art is really neat and it's got this real sort of like defined edges, but I couldn't quite work with that and still make it look like a barley field. So I'm sort of thinking about, well, getting the feel for this big ear of barley at the front at the moment, and then just lots and lots of strokes to try and really get that chaos from the barley field really. So at the moment I'm just working in as many sort of shapes and patterns as I can to try and replicate the look of this barley field with my pen pressure set to sort of full opacity, so there's no opacity settings on there really. Just trying to find these like ears of corn, working in some midtones and shading now actually first of all. What do you think of it?
But I mean, we've spoke about this before, and obviously I can, drink a beer, design a beer recipe, brew a beer, and kind of I can appreciate the constituent parts. Looking at art, I can appreciate a nice picture, but maybe not what the work that goes into it. And seeing this kind of time lapse is really interesting because you can see like the base and the groundwork, and now like it's like the layers are coming up. And it's really interesting.
Oh,
and obviously
cool.
I've seen this before, so I know where it's going, but kind of seeing the progression of it is really interesting.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks, man. So now I've switched to pen pressure opacity, so that allows you to get more sort of different tones out of the pen rather than just choosing a single colour. It allows you to sort of develop more shades within it, so you get more interest in the picture and you're not just set to a specific colour going down each time. And just thinking about just that chaotic look, you see all these like chaotic strokes going in, just developing the highlights now, so you get that kind of depth of or an impression of depth within this barley field. And I think in a minute I start working on the sky, so you've got this like real sort of chaotic look for the barley field, and then I was like, well, I want the sky to have that sort of neater, typical like pixel art look to it. So as I'm now kind of shading in, blending in, I suppose, blending in that gradient in the sky, I'm going to start putting in the clouds, thinking about more sort of well-defined edges. I probably didn't quite achieve the true sort of hard edges that I was hoping for. I've still got my pen set to pressure opacity here, so you're getting lots of different tones. It's probably still got quite soft edges, but I like how it ended up. I was trying to get that feel of like having a beer on a hot summer's day, and I think, as you said, we talked about that before, and I know that's got something to do with the beer that you've chosen, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we're still progressing through the process of you creating the logo now, but when I saw the first time I saw the finished product, like instantly, first thing that sprung to my mind was Czech Pilsner, Bavarian Pilsner, and specifically the good old classic style, the Pilsner Urquell. I mean, I know that you haven't ink dropped it or anything, but just you can look at this and you can look at that barley field and you can see white clouds. My head's not quite as good as your attempt. I had a bit more of a gentle paw.
Nice.
But you can see white clouds, and I mean that's identical colour. That deep golden, almost burnished barley colour, which comes straight through in the Czech Pilsner malt. And
yeah,
I mean I saw that picture. I could taste this in my mind. And that's the first beer that I kind of thought, because for me, hot weather, friends, barbecue, it's got to be Pilsner Urquell. Yeah. It's just and it said we've progressed a little bit more now. Do you want to talk us through where we've gone here? Because I think we're going to lose the grid shortly, aren't we?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so in a minute or two, I kind of upscale it so that you get a better quality image, but by maintaining the sort of pixel art looks. I mean, you start off with a really small canvas. It's only about 200 pixels square, and then you can upscale it. So I'll do that now by using Adobe Illustrator. Allows you to upscale it. So then when I go in for the text with the logo, I've got a bigger image to work on basically, and it just helps smooth it out and give you just a cleaner finish really, which is what I really like about digital art. Digital art sometimes gets a bit of a bad rep from more traditional artists. They say that there's shortcuts you can take and stuff. I don't see it like that at all. It's all just techniques. I mean, it's like saying that an oil painter doesn't if he uses technique, then he's taking shortcuts, and it's the same with digital art really. And I just love the clean look that you get. You've got that nice clean line now instead of it being, it's kind of the clean line on the circle is sort of juxtaposed with the jagged pixels. And I think a lot of the time with pixel art, you've almost got to, it's a bit like old impressionism. You have to look closer to then realise, oh gosh, yeah, okay, that's sort of more a bit messier than it looks from a distance really. And I'll just pop in the actual sort of text logo in the middle that again adds to that sort of clean look to it really. But yeah, it's nice getting to finishing a piece of work. Well, when I'm pleased with it, it's nice. Sometimes I'm not. But yeah, I'm pleased with this, how it turned out. And similar to what you were saying, it just makes me think of just probably late summer. And I think that's why originally I chose the Oktoberfest beer, because I mean, Oktoberfest is actually in September, isn't it? Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, they celebrate Oktoberfest in September, which is like your typical sort of harvest festival time. And to me, this is just like the crop's ready, it's late. I mean, we often get quite sort of hot Septembers in the UK, don't we? So for me, yeah,
lazy days
by a canal in a beer garden, spending time with friends. And I guess especially given that I created this a few months back while we were in the middle of one of these COVID-19 lockdowns. So I know when we originally chatted about this, we were saying, oh God, yeah, we are just ready for summer, ready for socialising. I guess that's a big part of making this. Like your art is such a product of what you're doing at the time, you know. And now we're getting there. Like we're actually we're legally allowed to meet up. So I mean, you can actually have a beer in person pretty soon. Which will be
absolutely. And when you say like your art's a product of kind of your environment and where you are at the time, it's exactly the same for a beer. I don't look at that and think Imperial Stout or Baltic Porter or, you know, I look at it and I think crisp, clean, refreshing beer, because that's what I want when I'm there. You know, it's just that's what it is. I don't know if we can just have a quick look at the final picture again, but just one thing that I did notice was as we were talking of the topic when you're getting the Gardner Brothers, I love the way that it kind of looks like it's been taken with a fisheye. And I know that you didn't maybe intend that while you were doing it, but it also kind of just brings to mind the kind of when you are with friends and you're having a beer and you've got, you know, you're taking pictures and memories, and it's just an extra layer that kind of sprung to mind, because we were talking about kind of the emotions when you look at a piece of art or drink a beer, and obviously we're talking about the two things together. It was just an interesting point that I noticed.
I really like that. Yeah, the idea, because I mean, like when we spoke before, I said it wasn't intentional that it would have that sort of fisheye look. I think it's that the sort of circular, that outer faded white line that perhaps just brings everything a bit closer, with that ear of barley being looking as though it's a bit closer to the lens. So yeah, it kind of gives that fisheye look to it, which I really like. And so I guess what you're saying is that it reminds you of how being with friends brings everything closer, doesn't it? And I guess that's a product of the time that we're in. Looking forward to being closer to the people we want to actually spend our time with, you know. Yeah, so I mean, like, this has led to you choosing your Czech Pilsner, and I mean, I've prattled on about my art long enough, and I'd like to know more about the style of beer that you've chosen. So have you got some tasting notes, some style notes to tell me about?
I mean, I chose Pilsner Urquell specifically because it's the classic style. It's the original pale lager. You know, it's from the 1800s. It's, you know, it's where the style began. And I mean, you've just got to take one look at it, and it might not be the perfect pour. It might not be the poster child with the big rocky head, but it's just beautiful. I mean, get to that camera, get to this camera.
Yeah, it's such a lovely colour, isn't it?
It's just a rich, pale lager. I mean, it's got I mean, it's got the perfect balance of malt and hops. I mean, and to get something this clean and this elegant it's a feat of brewing excellence, really. And I mean, it's you go with the BJCP style guidelines will tell you kind of what bittering it is and it should be, and its original gravity and finishing gravity, and that's all available online. I don't need to go into the finer details of that, but just kind of have a quick run through kind of the aroma of it. It's got that rich bread crust, like golden bread crust malt aroma, but it's also got kind of like a beautiful noble hop. I think traditionally it's Saaz hops, so you get that kind of very, very subtle kind of lemon citrus, but not kind of in an IPA kind of way, just in a very kind of noble, like lager hop. And it's just balanced. You can smell both in there. And I mean, just look at it. It's gorgeous.
It is a beautiful colour. And I mean, lager can get a bad rep, especially amongst, like, because we're talking like craft beer, aren't we? And I guess we've both chosen beers that, they're not British craft beer, which I guess we're particularly interested in. And I mean, probably the Helles Schlenkerla maybe a bit less so, but I mean they're pretty commonplace. But I mean, like, just a good beer is a good beer, isn't it? And that's such a beautiful colour. You think of lager as being like your Corona sort of colour, like really pale, but that's a lovely colour, isn't it?
I mean that's probably I can't tell you exactly, but it's probably floor malted Czech Bohemian Pilsner. I mean it's artisan kind of ingredients going in to make a fantastic product. The flavour, again, it's that rich kind of bready sweet malt balanced beautifully. I mean really beautifully with like really clean noble hop. You've got bitterness and flavour in there, really well balanced, and it's got like a really long finish, and it doesn't stray one way or the other. It's beautiful. And the second I saw that picture, that's where it took me, because hot barbecue days, this is what I want to drink. Yeah, you can drink.
Amazing.
I mean, it's off the top of my head, I can't remember. I think it's only 4.4%. So, you can drink. You can
have a couple of those.
A fair few of them, yeah. And it's delicious. It's got character. It's just elegant. It's a great beer.
Nice.
And that's what it made me think of.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, here's to us having one or two together in the flesh pretty soon, matey.
Absolutely. Watch this space. More videos. Yeah. Some brewing videos hopefully coming along shortly.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we've got lots of plans for the channel. So I guess if people have made it this far, then thank you for watching.
Well done.
As Neil just said. Yeah, as you just said though, watch the space.
Yeah, still mix it up, bring some different content, and hopefully get a really good balance between art, beer, and brothers having a good chat. Maybe back again.
Excellent. Yeah, that's about it, isn't it? Nice one.
Excellent.
Cool. Well, good stuff, man. And thanks everybody for watching. And
take care. Till next time.
Please like and subscribe to help us grow this channel.
Absolutely. Yeah, we always forget to say that. Like and subscribe. I don't know. Press this button or that button. I don't know where it is.